he's not coming. Doesn't matter. Once we're sure we're getting recorded, we'll start. Jim? Are you going to go online and check it out? All right. We'll wait a minute. Yeah, that one's going to be a debacle.
Looks like we are getting the screen. No, one second. Yes, should go.
So this is the regularly scheduled town and the second zoning board of appeals meeting for
13. You do not just vote to assent to the continuance to May. It's due to the HDC approval process that's taking a little longer.
I'll make a motion. Aye.
Okay, so on the new business, 817 D. Belanger and Tammy Belanger, 5A Pine Tree Road. For the applicant. Yeah, just you gotta come up and the microphone, introduce yourself to the tape, and just tell us what you want to do. Please.
Are we on here? I'm Dean Belanger. My wife Tammy is sitting here to my left. In essence, what we're trying to do is build a second dwelling. So with the setbacks the way they are and us being pre-existing non-conforming at 5A Pine Tree Road, we're looking for setback relief under 139.16 C4A in order to put in this second dwelling. We've been through the HDC, we've been through the planning board, we have COAs from them, and now we're looking for the special permit relief from you folks.
Okay. And this is specifically allowed in this district, correct?
That's correct.
Before the zoning change was filed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Just want to clarify.
Yeah, C4A.
Okay.
So it's only oh, I see, it's the northerly property line as well as is it all three sides, basically? North, south, and east are all going,
Well, the rear setback is 5, if I'm reading it correctly.
no, that's an
That's
easement.
right. So,
No, it's
so correct me if wrong, but under R5 now, we have one side that needs to be 10 feet. We're asking if we could get relief on that.
really only one side.
Got it. Oh, that's interesting.
It's not very often invoked, this particular section of the bylaw.
I gotta ask a question, why wouldn't you just carve off 4.1 feet and then you would comply?
Why wouldn't we?
Yeah, why
Or
wouldn't the building be a little smaller?
why wouldn't the building be a little bit smaller? Or we're trying to maximize what we could do.
I just have another question. It looks like the outdoor stair area, if that were brought in a little bit from the back property line, that could maybe get further away. Is there a reason why the landing is so large at the top?
You're talking on the northern
Mm-hmm.
stairwell, is that a stairwell going up or a
Or
stairwell
down.
going down?
Yeah.
I'm not sure which you're referencing.
It's on the northerly side of the
You
house.
can come up here if you want me to.
May I?
speak to it.
It's on the site plan. It shows stairs. It's this right here. Like, what is this whole area? Is that
So that's actually a walk down.
so? What if this were brought in? You'd get further apart. Why does it have to go right to that corner?
And we were hoping to have the doorway towards, because we were looking to do a 10-foot basement.
Right.
Walk down something, a significant amount.
Was this showing? Is this shown accurately?
That's right.
Basement, well then, oh yeah, then the stairs count.
The stairs count, but I mean, at the bottom you could have a 3-foot door, and this could still be pulled back dramatically if this is shown accurately. I mean, you have. I mean, I'm looking at the scale. You have.
Do you have the plans with you?
Yeah. Do you have the HGC drawings?
I mean, you're probably still not gonna make,
You're not going to make it, but it's going to be better, maybe. But
because then you would potentially comply and not have.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, the full scale drawings is what you're
no, just a reduction is fine, just so we can see what was approved. I mean, maybe it's not even worth.
No, not the site plan.
The architectural drawings that went to the HGC set.
I don't think I do. Pretty much got everything.
I see the yellow HCC form in there. Is that
Well,
the-
yeah,
no?
so we had to,
The plans aren't attached?
we had to get 3 different ones. So one to demo the deck, one to move the shed, so I haven't. We were still waiting for submission for final plans from staff. So Val just brought that over a few days ago.
Oh, so-
The major civil.
It's approved through staff, so he has to just drop drawings off to get stamped through, so, but it has been approved.
And forgive me because it's
Yeah.
all new to me.
I think all Lisa is saying, and you might even come close to complying, is that if that stairwell wasn't quite as big.
Right, I mean, I'm just saying at the bottom of the stairs, you really need to have it looks like you have enough room to have a pair of French doors or a big wide window. If that were just a doorway and you could pull this section of the wall back, you would get pretty close to complying. You wouldn't even need relief.
Well, the question is,
Well,
what-
noticed that would, we're talking about 10 feet that on that side.
You need 4.5 feet more than you have, because it's 5.5, and the property line veers. So if you pull back, I don't know, I was just asking the question, and then you have an extra 0.9 feet on the other side, it could shift slightly, and then you wouldn't potentially need relief.
I mean, I think if you can do it without relief, it's probably better, a little bit better for you, too. Do you want to examine that, whether or not you can change that walkout at all?
I mean, I can certainly try that. Obviously sets us back on timetable.
Well, either way, you have a 20-day appeal period once the decision is signed, so you can't apply for a building permit until that appeal period is complete. So you have, if they had to come to us.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if they didn't have to
Didn't
come back to
come
us, then
you
you'd be
would
golden.
speed right through.
Right, yeah. Well, I mean, it's,
I mean, what's in the basement? It's not another dwelling unit. This is one dwelling unit, right? One second dwelling.
yes, it's just access to the basement.
So all we're saying is you might be able to comply. All it is it looks like it's the walkout, a portion of the walkout. It's the problem.
Well, I mean, having said that, if nobody else has issue with a special permit, what would be the benefit, what would be the negative of him getting a special permit? There is none.
Just the decision is on file.
Yeah.
You have to live up to any of the conditions there.
Right.
I would prefer always something, but
He's, I'm fine with it. I don't know if anyone's in the audience.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Is there anybody in the audience who wants to speak about this one? What about the other board members? As is. Fine.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Okay.
It was good to have them reduce the landing length, but I see your point.
All I'm saying is it would comply. Maybe not.
Well, I was thinking if it was a stair to the second floor, too, it would have more impact to the neighbors. It's a basement stair, it's less of an impact.
Yeah.
It's underground, so.
I mean, the reality is probably if the building was out to that corner.
You'd probably-
Certainly grant this relief.
Right.
Right.
So I'll make a motion. Are there any conditions that we have to?
Well, my only other question was the location of the shed. I thought the whole scale or separation of the buildings was to provide access for emergency.
You have to prove at planning board level that you've got enough room for fire trucks to get to this secondary building. And you also have to, I think it's 11 feet?
10 feet
10.
now.
10, okay, it used to be 11.
Between dwellings.
Used to be
Right.
12, yeah.
Yeah.
12 to anything, and now it's just to buildings. I don't think they include decks.
Right.
Yeah.
And we examined everything that we could do
Only
with the
dwelling
shed,
units.
and unfortunately, where we wanted to put it, the HTC had issue with that. So this was really basically the only other option that we had outside of getting rid of the shed altogether, and I prefer not to do that if I could.
Where did you want to put the shed?
I wanted to put it at the top of the driveway. Yeah.
Probably where it would go on.
Yeah, and they didn't go for that, unfortunately.
Well, I think it's a little strange, but I don't think it's within our jurisdiction to say anything about that, is it?
Well, but only because you obviously don't have, I mean, if the planning board, I suppose, is okay with it. Obviously, you don't. if there were
Well, they're
five.
not gonna drive a fire truck down there. They're gonna come down the southerly side and fight it from that side.
No, no doubt.
I mean, because there are lots of lots that don't have 12 feet around the building to walk, or 10 feet, or, you know.
Just let's say.
Great.
What, I didn't hear a motion.
I just made a motion to approve the relief as requested.
Granted the relief as requested and no further conditions. Okay.
Thank you all.
So seconded by
We
Ken.
didn't vote yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Karen seconded.
Again, new.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? No. So why don't you file about 50? We'll vote on it. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Good luck.
Okay to say thank you now?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
all.
Thanks.
Bye.
I'll definitely push you on
All righty. Moving on.
Good afternoon, lady and gentlemen of the zoning board. As you notice, my name is George Breen. My wife and I are the current owners of 65 Myacommon Avenue. I am here today to request a variance that will allow the continued use of the shell parking area located at 65 Myacommon Avenue. The location of the shell parking is such that it minimizes potential car noise to all of our neighbors. Before I begin, though, I'd like to take an opportunity to thank Ms. Eleanor Antionetti of the Zoning Board for her help. This is the first time for me. We'd also like to apologize to our neighbors for any inconvenience they've experienced because of our tenants. We have tried to be a responsible neighbor to all of our neighbors at 65 Myacommon Avenue. As background, we purchased the house in 2014. We were thinking of it as a potential retirement summer home that we could share with our children and grandchildren. My daughter is here with me today. Because of the housing shortage in Nantucket, our real estate agent approached us in 2015 and asked if we'd be willing to consider an off-season rental. She lined up potential tenants. There were 4 adults. We explained that we entered into agreement with them, and we explained that there were 4 adults, but there were only 2 parking spaces. They told us that wouldn't be a problem because they would be able to carpool to and from work. We didn't hear any complaints from anyone about the use of the house during the first year of the lease. So when they approached us to continue with the second year, we agreed to, under the same conditions, no more than 4 adults and 2 parking spaces. Unfortunately, during the second year of the lease, we learned that there were 6 adults staying in the house. We immediately contacted our agent, told her that there were 6 people living in the house, and we expected them to comply with the lease. We also offered to terminate the lease at no cost to them. They could walk away from it. We also met with the Nantucket Police Department to see what our enforcement options were. Unfortunately, they were very limited. Luckily, since that time, 2 adults have moved out, and we believe that has alleviated some of the parking issues. On February 10th of this year, we received a parking violation notice. Because neither we nor our agent had received any complaints about the parking from anyone, we were quite surprised. Upon receiving the violation notice, we contacted our agent, had her inform the tenants that they could no longer use the shell parking in the front of the house. They were to park in the area between the house and the shell parking, which is over the sewer pipe which connects the house to town sewer. And by the way, all of us in that area are on well water. In closing, we would like your permission to continue to use the shell parking in the way that we received it and the way we're told it has been used since at least 1998. The location of the shell parking is such that it minimizes noise to our neighbors and also it's as far away as possible. We can get it from the sewer pipe. Thank you very much for your time. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to try to address them.
Thank you. Okay. I have a couple questions. Is the shed still on the, this was through 2017, so I assume that shed still straddles the lot line?
Yes.
That was supposed to be moved, so
That
why
is-
hasn't that been moved, you know?
The shed is where we inherited from the previous owner.
Who uses the shed?
We use it, the shed is divided in the middle. My wife and I use one half, and the neighbor at 65R uses the back half. She has access to it from her property, and she uses what I believe is one half of the shed. She has exclusive use to her half. We have exclusive use to our half.
All right, Eleanor, help me out here. That's not what was agreed to, was it?
Unfortunately, that was not specifically called out in the variance decision. There is mention in the conditions that no more than 1 shed per lot, or in fact, you could say for both lots.
But we didn't specifically grant relief to have it.
No, you did talk about it in the minutes, that's why I included the minutes.
I think that there was some mention.
Yeah.
Relocating.
I mean,
No
I-
more than one shed for the two subdivided lots, so it was meant to be one or the other.
Yeah.
Not over the line.
The shed needs to be taken care of.
I've got to think that there's an agreement somewhere between the two property owners, maybe not this gentleman, but the parties that he succeeded in dealing with the, when you bought the property, had the covenant house already been conveyed to the current owner?
No, no.
Okay.
No, when we purchased the house, we bought the front house, and the real estate agent asked us if we would be willing to buy the two of them, 2 lots, and that presumably would have saved them breaking it up. Anyway, but the 65R had not been purchased. There was actually still a gentleman living in it, I believe, who was a holdover from Access Nantucket, one of their tenants, clients, whatever.
Wait a minute, you absolutely can, but just come up to a microphone and identify yourself for the tape. We have to go through that very well. Probably. I think we can hear you.
My name is Denise Nasserad. I purchased 65R, Mycomb Avenue. And when I purchased the Covenant home, it was advertised that it had a shared shed. And so that was part of what I purchased. I don't know where it was supposed to be moved to, but that was part of what I purchased when I purchased that.
All right.
You can, just as a point of information, you can, with the secondary lot bylaw, have an interior lot line setback improvement. And this is straddling the lot line, so it's really taking it to its limit. But I looked at the planning board decision and I didn't see anything calling it out either, so I think
I'm 100% sure that there was discussion of the shed being moved. It says right here in this as-built, shed to be relocated
To covenant line.
I'm uncomfortable. But anyway, I think there may be somebody else in the neighborhood. Oh, there he is.
Sure.
Walter Flaherty. I live at the house next door, 69 Mycomb Ave. I attended the meeting 3 years ago with the planning board and the zoning board. I wrote you a letter, took you some pictures. Some of the things you cannot address. I've been in touch with Marcus for a year now, trying to resolve this parking situation. I've tried to talk to Access Nantucket for 2 years without any luck. That's why I finally went to Marcus last year, and then I talked to Eleanor probably about 4 months ago. My knowledge is that shed is on the front property, 65 Mycomb Ave. It was supposed to be moved to the property line, so half of it would be on 65, half would be on 65 rear. As you can see, some of the other issues that I put in that letter, I don't think you can address them, but it pertains to the water wells and cutting down the trees. At the same time, you agreed, Access Nantucket and this board agreed to remove that front shell driveway. Excuse me, I got a cold. The parking was supposed to be in back of 65, between 65 and 65R for 4 parking spots. They were supposed to improve the driveway that led to 65R Mycomb Ave and do away with the shell driveway.
When you say improve, what was your...
They were supposed to put some type of hardener the first 10 feet. I believe that's some type of HCC or some type of town rule.
You mean an apron?
An apron, yes. I'm sorry, an apron.
Yeah.
I don't see a site plan that shows 4 parking spaces between the buildings. I see a site plan with 2 that are still in front of 65, but not on the road. They come off the driveway. I don't see any plan that shows 4 between the buildings.
Like I said,
Did you want to look at the plan?
Yeah, I don't.
no, that was my recollection. That's what I thought the neighbors agreed to at the time.
So there is a site plan that is in our packet. It's page 55 from Paul Santos. It shows the shed shifting to straddle the line. It shows 2 parking spaces that would be coming off the driveway, but still between My Calvin Avenue and the front of 65, and then 2 in the back for 65R.
The shed still encroaches on the property.
Yes, in this plan, which I presume went to the planning board, because it looks like it is a planning board, it's showing it moving and straddling the line.
Mine,
This one?
Page 55, you can see the check form.
yeah, that's the one I was looking at. Yeah, this
Yeah, so somebody,
crosses the,
yeah, somebody approved the shed moving and crossing the line.
That's the new one.
But it looks like it was a planning board approval, because it's on a planning board plan, right?
Yeah. But then we probably,
We went before the decision, we granted our decision on 9/12, they granted their decision on 10/17. So after us.
I find it a little odd.
well, let me ask you this. If you go to 0 on a covenant lot, and if you're the other part of the covenant, you go to 0, what would you consider something that Portage is 0?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of, it's 0 and 0, yeah. I mean, they share a wall, but that's more efficient than having 2 buildings smack up against each other. So I don't necessarily, it looks like that part of it got approved. I was just saying that I don't think, it doesn't look like any board had approved 4 parking spaces between the 2 buildings. That I can't
If I may
find.
add something, none of the documents that my wife or I received showed 4 parking spaces between the
Yeah,
2.
no,
The only
I-
ones
that-
were, as Ms. Nesserod said,
Yeah.
were in front of the house. And there was supposed to be 2 in front of the house. Shell parking was to be abandoned, and the 2 were to be in the front of the house where we've instructed our tenants to park now.
Can I just ask,
so are you, go ahead.
well, I was going to ask the question about, are you uncomfortable with, have you seen this plan? It's Walter, right? Yeah, sure. This is the plan that shows the shed being moved to straddle the line. And it shows 2 parking spaces here, and then the 2 that remain in the back. Can you see? So there's a space here and space here for you, and then there's 2 spaces here. That seems to be and this was approved by the planning board. When did you buy the property? Yeah, so this was approved 10/17/2013.
Access Nantucket subdivided
Yes.
property.
So that, I don't see anything else that pulls all the parking to the back of the lot. Yeah, I don't know where you'd put it, but, so you're just asking us for relief to take these 2 parking spaces away from here and leaving them on My Common Avenue. And do you have an issue with that?
There's 4 or 5 cars, they're parking on the street, they're parking in the front yard, they're parking over in my house.
Is this where you're parking now?
I'm parking, I have 2 vehicles, one here and one here.
But even if they parked here, would that, and I'm not, that would still not prevent people from parking along the road, would it? Unless we put some hedges there.
The reason that's an issue is tenants aren't complying with the lease.
What, has it always been an issue, or is it just of late?
But I'm sure that when Access Nantucket used the property, there's more density to it,
There was 1 person living in each house.
and you still had a parking problem then.
No, because there was only 1 person. 1 person lives in each house, the front house and the back house,
And now there's 4 in the front.
at least 4.
Is there any, reason they can't park on the street legally?
At the beginning, I've tried to address it with the DPW about signs, there are signs at the beginning of the street,
They say no parking?
no parking either side.
Unfortunately, something like that, I mean, as long as there is a plan that meets zoning, that's all we really can,
I understand that.
so if people park where they're not supposed to, unfortunately, we're not the,
Yeah, down the street from you, closer to Surfside Road on the left, the parking in the front lawns, and there might be 8 cars And a lot of those cars don't even have plates on.
Is there anything, in the bylaw that says you can't, as long as all the cars are on your property? What's precluded from having these cars?
I can't answer that.
I don't think there is. I mean,
I mean, you can park
If-
as many
cars as you can fit.
unsightly, I agree, but
And there's green space requirement in some zones.
Mm-hmm.
even for residential,
For mixed, I think.
mixed, yeah. I've never seen it on just straight up residential. So all I'm getting at is I'm not sure there's anything we can do. If somebody wants to park on every inch of their lawn, I think they can. From a Nantucket zoning bylaw.
I understand, yeah.
Whether or not that's a flawed document is another discussion.
I did have some issues with them parking in also, like even out.
And parking along the driveway, in the driveway.
But again, that's really I'm not sure that's something we control. You use the 2 spaces in the back?
Mm-hmm.
Parking the driveway, I can't get out.
But they could still park there even if, I mean, they were still parking there even though the parking hasn't been relocated. So if we relocated the parking, they could still block it too.
Yeah, I don't see how that would change anything from my perspective, except it would be more wear and tear on part of the driveway that I assume is my responsibility to maintain.
Well, the other issue here is you technically would need a second curb cut. I mean, this is
Right.
curb cuts.
Right, because the planning board,
Your proposal.
right, the
keeping Michelle's
and
driveway.
and that involves a planning board visit.
You may or may not, I believe, and I'm not certain, this must be verified, that curb cut exists, the one that where the Breen's parking space is currently located, that's been there since 1998, when the bylaw changed that only one curb cut be allowed unless you have a special permit.
Yeah, but they went to the planning board and they got approval with it
We approved shows one driveway access with 2 parking spots
off of
clearly
it.
identified
Right.
off the street with additional parking in the back of the
So
building.
you're right, they would need it
It's a
for the
single curb, the way
existing
he would, the way.
driveway.
Yeah, it's a totally different elevation.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to just comply with the plan as
And
was
put the-
approved a long time ago and get rid of that front self driveway?
No, we think actually what looks better, the two things. Sewer connection from our house, town sewer, goes under, the next proposed parking spot or water. And it seems to me that's increased risk if something happens with the water supply. Having us park over where the shell parking is, you alleviate that risk. And it's just using the property as we inherited it. That's the part of it.
And frankly, it would look terrible to have 2 cars parked right in front of the house. I mean,
But that's what was approved.
No, it was approved to drive in and park to the left.
Yeah, that's right in front of the house.
The whole point of that is.
Turn around in the driveway and drive out without backing
You're
out
able
onto
to
the
screen
street.
your parking from the
Yeah.
street by
Here's the
having it
picture.
fall the way you showed.
Right.
There's 2 parking spaces that were approved, weren't there?
But they weren't approved with access directly.
They're approved right here.
Pulled it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would, you pull in right here. Which I think would look, I think it would look better, but,
But Michael, you can protect the sewer.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about the sewer line.
I disagree on the well, number of wells.
What's that?
He asked if there was 2 wells, I believe it's just 1 well.
They only show one on this plan.
The new well, and part of my letter was explaining that I agreed to have the trees cut down and stumps removed, so the well driller could get in. I offered the use of my driveway to make it easier so we wouldn't have to back over all that. Yeah, that's
The best of my knowledge, previous owners did not build when the plan said they were going to. I don't know why, and we had this discussion after we purchased. When we purchased, they insisted that the well had been drilled between the shed and the driveway process. After they insisted
on, I gotta go
Page
back.
48 back.
Page 48.
It's at the junction of Denise's, two parking spaces.
Sorry.
Well, it says proposed well on page 48, but it doesn't say well.
No, where's
Here it is.
Where's your, so the
Oops.
well is,
Right where it says proposed.
Proposed well,
okay, so where's the
right there, by the 9 by 20.
Yeah, okay, yes, the proposed well. As far as I know, that is where the well is.
There's a stake there for the, where the well, my understanding is that's where the well was supposed to be drilled. That's why I agreed to cut down the trees on the property line, and let them use my driveway to gain access to me. Make it easier for
Is
them.
there water down this, on that area?
Now I'm still in no water.
The trees that were cut were on my property, and they had a small thing for ending next month because they cut the trees without my permission, and they never put the well in there. So that is another issue that
We,
we're
we had extended discussion on this with the previous owner as to where the well is located. We were concerned that the health department wouldn't approve where the proposed location is, where they said this is where the second well was built. Because one of the preconditions was that both houses would be independent. They would separate, have separate utilities, okay? So, what we did is, we went after them to clear the property so that in case the current location of the well, where it was in an unsafe area. I spoke with the health department, I guess, with it, and they said that meets the requirements of the health department, so there was nothing wrong with this. By that time, we had already had the trees cut down in case we had to move it to where it was originally intended to be. It didn't make sense for my wife and myself to want cars driving in one area parking. That goes to the water supply, especially when wells are relatively shallow here. My wife and I had a house, way back in Maryland, we had to drill a well, we had to be down 200 feet. Anyway,
I think part of the well location was when this was on septic, it was difficult to fit it in on page 48. You see the 100.
All the circles.
So, you have to be 100 feet away from your septic system. This didn't even look like it made that. But they thought it was the best they could do at the time. But anyway, having said all that, there's no well.
no, we have a well, I believe, no?
there is a well.
So you have a well.
We have independent.
There's
wells.
one here.
Put it in where it is proposed, but the
So
trees
this-
that were cut down were over here, because they wanted to put it here.
This says existing well over here.
That's
Does-
my well.
Okay.
So you have
And
two.
there's, yeah, and there's.
Where's the second one? Is right there.
Yeah.
48.
Did that well serve both properties?
No,
We each have independent wells.
this one serves her house. This one by the parking serves your house.
Although you think
I
that
don't
they,
believe there's two wells there.
Well, I see existing well, but I don't see any other existing well.
No, it just says proposed.
Trees on my property?
Yeah.
Here's my property.
Well, my property, my driveway,
Right,
all the
because
trees.
that was,
which well do you think they were, where was the location?
They wanted to put it in over here. This is where they cut down the trees.
On your, and you
Normally on a
allowed them to
lot-
come on your property here.
on a
But
lot
you
this
think they
small,
never
I would
actually,
put the wells next to
no, there was no well drilled between Walter's property and the shed.
Does
No
this
well was
is this
ever drilled.
even?
But the trees were removed.
And I'm not sure, I can't see the plan. There was a proposed wall here, two of them. Oakgate came in and put them in the wrong location, and the engineer came back and said they were in the wrong location. Back here. They hired a company to put in the sewer line. They messed that up. They hired Barrett to come back a second time and put the sewer line correctly.
so when Holgate did the incorrect,
He put the wells in the wrong
Where they
location.
capped
According
off
to the
it.
engineer. That's what I was told.
Boy, this sounds like a real mess.
Right, do we have the old variance in here?
Yeah, it's in here. I
Why
passed
am I
it.
not seeing it? What page is it?
I don't know. I gotta find it.
I went from 26 to 28, that's part of the problem.
Here it is.
Yeah, I'm looking
Here's a planning board decision too.
Did Marcus say anything about the fact that this property has to be curb cut?
That was the issue. My recollection is when we were here 2 or 3 years ago, they were gonna do away with the much shelter.
Second part of the ground cover ratio.
Says it, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
What are the conditions?
Well, this is the planning board, but let me go to us. Dimensions of the lot, parking configuration, and screening shall be substantially in compliance with the plan entitled Site to Accompany a Special Permit.
All right, where's the plan that accompanied the variance? Okay.
It must be 33. Right?
So where's the screening it talks about?
I don't see it listed.
Also, I don't see an apron in the picture.
Proposed apron. Proposed
Is
apron.
there now before the picture?
This covers up there, it's there. I mean, the block, in front of the
Elgin block?
block. Yep, first,
It certainly doesn't show it.
under this thing.
What they're saying is,
You can see, yep, you can see it right here. You can see it right here. They go back about to here.
Well, that's like I said, access Nantucket wasn't very.
They weren't good neighbors?
Special permit application.
They have to back fix the driveway, they have to back fix the door line. My belief is they have nothing.
I think that's this one.
Is Access Nantucket involved anymore? They're long gone.
No, so that's how, the way I
That's sort of
see
the
this is
problem.
Access Nantucket really didn't do anything. And they somehow, I don't know who represented you, but you purchased the property and with these
Without-
outstanding items not
Right.
completed, and now you're stuck with them, but you're
Not
stuck.
me, everything was done on mine, except then the trees were removed from well that was never put in without my permission, so that's sort of my.
Well, the shell driveway wasn't removed and the 2 parking spaces, and
The
I mean,
shed
this
is still on
plan,
the front property, correct?
It straddles the lot line.
That is, it straddles the line.
It looks like it straddles the lot line now,
according to this plan.
the newest plan.
It's straddled, no, it's on, it hasn't been moved.
yeah.
It's still solely on.
Oh, I see. It still says to be relocated to
Yeah.
covenant line, so, good point. So that has to be moved, okay.
There's, I'm not saying I think it's a great situation, but I'm also thinking that if in fact the bylaw does deal with this issue of going to 0, what is the difference between going to 0 and straddling the lot?
Nothing, but they haven't moved it.
I agree.
So,
Oh, you mean to the suggested
Yes.
relocated
Yeah.
area?
Yes.
Yeah.
so my
That's correct,
question
but
is, would
why
it
do
still
they
be a
have to
shared
do
shed?
that?
Because they agreed to.
It just says proposed
Still be a shared
relocated,
shed?
proposed relocated shed. There's nothing that I could think of that would preclude them from leaving it where it is and sharing it.
Although I would think you would want it further off of your property.
Do you have an agreement to share the shed?
Yes, when I purchased it, that was,
A written agreement?
actually, there's no, to the best of my knowledge, there's no easement, just like on the parking. It's a clear, easement, 55 R, on 55 property. There's no such.
Cross.
such thing. What?
To cross the.
Yeah, there's appropriate
There's-
easement.
She has a second parking space, it's actually
Right.
on
But
65.
as far as the shed goes, there's no.
No,
there wouldn't
what
be
I'm saying is there is no similar documents
for the shed.
as far as I-
Well, that's because the idea was it was gonna straddle the line. When
and
it
I
doesn't
purchased
straddle
the
the
house
line.
with a shared shed.
Okay.
Right.
It was already shared.
When I purchased it, the wall was in,
Okay.
with the doors to my property, I have my part of the shed, which is completely
She has exclusive access from her
locked off.
property, and we have exclusive access to our side.
So if you're gonna move it, would I still have that?
Well, you would move it right to this, right now,
To the
where you're
middle.
altering, it does look like the
The
plan.
interior wall would sit on the property line,
Exactly.
divide, share.
That's what you want.
I think it does.
From
I
my
think it's
understanding,
very
that's
well
what
done.
it's supposed to be.
Should.
Looking at the state, when they had the survey done, and the shed, it looks like it does.
Well, this is what it's showing here. It's showing that the shed is the dotted line, and that your property line is much closer to the front wall. It was supposed to move and be half and half.
Each
No, well, the new site plan says it's well, it says it to be
Stake
moved.
is about halfway between the shed and the property, the corner stake.
Oh.
It seems like it's
Well,
more
I don't know.
halfway.
That stake, I believe, was for the water well location.
Oh, it might not be the
There's
property
a
line stake.
proposed well, and then there's a corner lot stake.
Well, we'd have to verify that then, because nobody knows really what's going on here.
And I'm not
Some
sure,
of these things are
I'm not
not.
sure who I would send them to find out either.
The surveyor, Paul
trying to get
Santos.
To waive the condition, and I'm of the opinion that we shouldn't. I don't see a point in waiving it. It was never complied with, and it should be complied with.
The parking?
Parking, yeah.
And the improvement.
Well, and I tend to agree that I think if the planning board's last plan shows the parking coming off of one driveway, and that's the last approval, I think they either have to go to them to get relief, or they should make it comply to that drawing. I mean, that's the only thing we can look at that's an approved document. And in our approval, which also shows that.
You know, the other thing, you purchased it's referenced, the plan was filed in the property record, so whatever's shown on that plan is what you purchased subject to, so, which I assume would be that relocated parking lot in the shed where it's supposed to be. So I think it just needs to be complied with.
Well, can I bring something up or ask a question? The two spaces don't necessarily have to be right here.
No, they can be
They
anywhere.
could be pointing the other way, for instance.
They could go off to the right,
Yeah.
going
I'm
towards Ron
simply
Shepherd's.
saying It's more, I don't think we've ever,
What do you mean?
well, you see how they're directly in front of the house here? I'm saying
They
you
go to
could
the right.
arguably go this way. I mean, I don't think we generally, unless it's a paved park.
Well, yeah, but how would that person get to the rear unit if the parking space is there?
No, you'd have to have enough space between the property line.
I'm not saying this isn't, I'm saying if they were here.
It's like where the old leach pit was.
versus here. We would not normally,
How would she access to that?
well, you'd still,
You still
access
have to-
the
Have to
same
pull in and out.
driveway. Yeah, they'd have to, thing.
They might have to park at an angle.
I'm not saying that it's yay or nay, I'm saying I don't think we normally, on a residential, residential
I mean, we do expect them to comply with the proposed plot plan.
It's a good point. I think that if you wanted to modify the site plan so that the two spaces weren't right in front of your building, you would certainly have that option, but I'm not feeling that there's a lot of support for you to keep the shelf parking on the outside.
I think the point of it is you have one driveway access. and then
Feeding
you're
both
parking
properties.
offset of that.
Right.
And that,
So you're not
by
backing
doing
up.
that, you're keeping more cars off of the street. I mean, then you have to if you would construct this the way it was proposed, and landscape the property, people would have to park on your landscape too.
Right,
And then that would become a problem for you, I would think.
right.
Along the same lines. I think with Mr. Green, you know, it's your, it's incumbent on you to have your tenants parking what you do.
I agree. Okay, but I know you think about it, and I have no enforcement mechanism.
Nor do we.
No, so that's a kind of that's an independent issue from where the parking should be.
It makes it a little tougher though when you have you have a 30-foot wide driveway access and then you have another 10-foot wide
Right.
driveway access next to it.
Right. I mean, if you were to landscape that area where the shell parking currently is, like you said, and then just have the one driveway, nobody would be able to
Yeah.
park there.
I think if they executed to the plan, I know it should have been the previous owner, wasn't it? Then you wouldn't have this issue of parking on the edge of the road.
Right.
I also find it interesting that we asked for
Screening.
a site plan to accompany a special permit, and that the screening was substantially being compliant.
And there's no
with.
screening shown.
There's no screening shown. I mean, or maybe no.
I don't know if that's the right plan. I don't need, it's hard to tell if that's the one that accompanied the special.
My 2 cents on the subject was, along the driveway and on Shepherd, at 61 High Conrad, he was gonna provide the labor if I
Um.
access the Kentucky, provided the plan.
Oh, and that must have been specifically
That was for Ron.
to keep
Step
Ron
Ron.
happy.
Gotcha.
His with, he's at
Well,
61 to 65.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was going to provide the labor if they provided the planting.
Right. So we don't really have the ability to enforce putting screening along My Common Avenue.
No.
Well, although we can today if we,
Well,
not if they go back to that old plan.
If I may, Mr.
Go
Chairman?
ahead.
Page 54, I'll call your attention to that, a cleaner copy of the exhibit plan attached on page 33 at the end of the decision.
54?
Yep, I wanted you all to be able to see better, I got that out of the application file. It does show screening, as a matter of fact.
Only, that little section.
Limited, but there is notation.
Yeah. Oh, over here.
It's like 20 feet of leaving site visit.
But nothing along the road. Okay.
Anyway, I don't know if we can, certainly not gonna solve all the problems over there. The shed technically should be relocated, I believe, to meet this plan. It does look like it straddles the line as it exists when you look at the existing checkered line, but I guess that would really be up to the owners.
Right.
I mean, if I were you, I'd want it my half on my half of the land.
To me, it looks like it is when I look at that corner lot.
Well, we would just have to, we should just confirm that,
Well, I don't.
Well,
or you don't care.
it looks like, to me, like it's.
It just, the only, DUB relocated.
No, I saw that, and I saw the relocation area, the dotted line.
No, but even on,
It's still crossed part of it.
It looked like it to me,
Yeah, definitely.
it does cross it, yeah.
so.
So
I would just think
crosses
Mr.
it,
Breen would want
the
less on his
relocated
property
version.
and more on her property. But that's up to you guys to figure out, I guess.
It's possible that's an error that should have been taken off the plan, that was surveyed.
That should have, it should have said,
Well, it says
the to be
I
relocated.
just forgot to remove the language, it is relocated.
But why was it
I don't
being-
believe it is.
No, there's,
I
there's no
suspect-
indication that checked everything out.
Yeah, I doubt it. I mean, just by virtue of the fact that nothing else is planned. Stuff.
And then, the plan up is your own shed.
Yeah.
Okay, you move it, what if it doesn't move well? If it falls apart?
My personal feeling is, if you're okay with the shed, I'm okay with the shed. We somehow improve this moving bisecting the lot line anyway.
Like, but there were, so you're saying one of the conditions you're okay going back?
Well, no, it was never a condition, oh,
It was a condition in our special permit.
One shed.
I mean, they're asking for the waiver,
Oh, it was-
modification, conditions to go back to what they originally were.
Yeah, but it was only one, the condition was one shed between the two properties. It didn't say it had to be relocated, right?
Yeah.
That
The
showed up on the
second
planning
one is the
board.
Shell driveway, right?
Yeah.
Hospital.
Yes.
To basically keep the Shell driveway that was never modified.
yeah, but I'm hearing from everybody that we don't like that idea.
No.
They're specifically asking about the parking.
Right.
Yeah.
There was no mention of shed, he did not address it, believe that.
Do you have a concern about the shed being moved a couple of feet?
If you're happy with it, I'm just telling you, everything that I thought was agreed upon between the planning board and the zoning board was the original owners at the first. And I feel I'm getting screwed at the end.
With the shed?
Walter, how are you feeling agreed with,
Not so much the shed, but like I said, I heard parking and, you know, I haven't done anything with the trees, thinking that they're gonna be back to the board.
We can't do anything about it.
I understand that. That's
What
why I
we
said-
can do is tell them to get rid of the Shell parking area, and if
Put the driveway.
applicant so decides, he could have the two parking spaces that Mr. Toole was talking about on the north side of the driveway access, the driveway access, and park them in a lane.
And that would be Mr. Shepherd's side, right?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
He was the one who complained about the noise.
I can understand why he wouldn't be too happy about that.
or you have to come back again and modify this plan, or you go with this plan.
I mean, you can certainly shift them closer to the My Common Ave property line a little bit.
Yeah,
The septic tank's not there anymore.
thinking was this, if we,
It's gone, right?
we just have to abandon the Shell parking, right?
Yeah.
No,
Parking is just to create
a driveway.
spaces on the front of that
That's what
slow
the,
down. You don't, so you're basically,
That is my preference, it isn't what I wanna do, it's the board directs me to do it.
What they're saying is if you don't want to touch it with sewer line, you can go off to the
well,
side
you can
of the
find,
house.
but you would then technically have to modify the plan.
Right, and Mr. Shepherd would not be happy about that.
But it's your property.
Yeah, a lot, a road.
Went old. Anyway,
so how do we vote?
well, Eleanor helped me here, but there seems to be the choice that you could simply withdraw, because it doesn't sound like you're gonna get the relief that you'd like. And in that case, if you withdraw, you can come back for this if you so desire, anytime. If, in the alternative, we both don't grant you the relief, it is with prejudice, if you will, and you will not be able to readdress this for 2 years. Is that correct? It's your choice. It doesn't matter to us one way or the other. But you would then also, not that it's a huge deal, would have this attached decision denying you, well, depending on how the vote is,
Well,
or you can continue it if you would like to think about it.
he can ask for, non-prejudicial decision, yeah.
But I'm saying if it goes to a vote, and
Yeah.
it's not
That'll be
positive,
the third thing.
Can
that would be,
can you sell the house in the meantime?
Well,
Just
now
get
that's
it off
a
the
whole
contract.
nother thing, because whoever buys this house is gonna have a lawyer, presumably. And that lawyer's gonna ask a few questions. And we may be able to address the shed at this meeting, I'm not sure, it's up to the chairman. Because that would be a question that I think is gonna come up real fast.
We're aware of the shed situation, and we're trying to prevent that. But in terms of the parking, so if I abandon the shell parking and tell my tenants to park as defined there,
I think you have to improve
then you
the,
would, then I would think you'd want to withdraw, because then you're not asking us for relief.
but doesn't he have to improve the parking,
think-
the
Yeah, you have to
driveway?
then comply with this, you have to make it a parking
A
You-
gardener or landscaper, heavy equipment operator over there.
Make it a
do something
driveway.
with it and make it look like it never existed.
Well, and also to make the driveway a compliant driveway.
And not look like it's parking on the house.
Yeah.
You also have, if we grant this, you also have an issue with if there are plans now filed of record. You have an easement agreement that references this plan that was approved, and if we waive these conditions, it's a little confusing now. If you were to sell it, you suddenly have a plan that you purchased the property that shows, all these changes, yet we said you don't have to make those changes.
They would have to go back to the planning board
Yeah, and I
to
think you
modify their site plan and.
modify and file a new
Yeah,
site
so I don't
plan,
think we-
modify your easement agreements to
So he should
reflect
withdraw.
this change that you requested. I mean, I think, I'm just one
The
person,
other-
but
the other-
I
I agree. And the other thing that, Jim probably would have said, but you cut him off,
I didn't notice.
is that you're gonna have to deal with it, find out whether there are two wells on these properties, or one.
That's not necessarily our purview, but
No,
I would
no,
wanna know.
Yeah, but that's gonna rear its head
no,
up.
If you're looking to sell.
No, I think, my wife and I had settled that. We went to the health department, asked them where it was, we know where her well is, and we're pretty sure, in spite of the law, there's two wells.
I could be wrong.
The wells weren't drilled where Walter.
You
where they
have a
were planning
water
to.
well completion report? For that lot? There was something from Gibby in here,
there should be something on file with the
It's on
health
page,
Yeah.
47, I just can't tell. Well, this is the permit to do it.
We don't, yeah, whether or not it was
The water
completed.
well completion report is not in here.
You may not even create, well, you should create it. The only reason
Or a building
You need
permit.
a well completion report in order to apply for it, so.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not sure, Michael is just giving you some friendly, advice that you might wanna make sure you each have your own well, because if I were buying this property, hopefully I would have competent counsel.
I would like to know too, I don't know if the well pump twice already.
Well, you might be doing double the work.
Well,
It sounds like
You can
if you
see
comply.
the wellhead, they're not invisible.
There is a visible white wellhead where it's the proposed well.
Alright, well, as long as
There
there's a
is.
pump in there, is there a pump in there?
And there's probably one there, but it didn't show up on the most recent plan.
Which is odd, that
I
Paul
think so.
wouldn't know it.
I think it's
Okay.
So the best way is to go back.
Yeah, we gotta keep moving on. 'Cause
Get
we-
the completion report.
Excuse me?
The best way to do that is go back to construction, put it in and get that completion report.
You can get it from the Board of Health.
Yeah.
Get onto the Board of Health and they'll
Now,
have
that
it on
doesn't mean,
file.
the water well completion report, by the way, just means that it hits water and it pumps a certain amount of gallons with the pump in it. He doesn't necessarily leave the pump in there if you have, if there wasn't some agreement to pay
it
for the
doesn't,
pump.
it really doesn't mean that the pump's in the well.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They may or may not.
Because they pump it from the well truck, hundreds of gallons, and they don't actually put it.
Oh, they don't even bother
Pump
doing that?
down in there.
I got you. Okay, so there may not even be a pump in there. Anyway, that was
Yeah,
friendly advice
yeah.
and nothing else. So how would you like to proceed? You can, again, I think the choices are you can withdraw. 'Cause
If I withdraw, does that give the buyer more options?
well, if you withdraw, you're saying you're going to comply with this plan.
Well,
And-
my intention, however, is to comply with what you tell us to do.
Right.
Which
well,
is this plan.
we would be telling you if you withdraw that you've withdrawn and the assumption is you're going to abide by this plan.
Okay, so that, we're gonna abandon the show parking, and we're gonna have some parking in front of the house.
Which I think would make your neighbors, I think it would satisfy your neighbors from what I hear, because you don't have cars on the end
Well,
of
it
the
would
road.
also make it easier to sell.
I
You're
think,
gonna compliant property.
yeah,
Well, that's why he's here, to try to change it, and
Well,
which is,
right,
you're
so-
totally within your rights to come in and try to change it. It's just I'm not feeling the love in terms of the vote. So,
And I think, so it's the thing, not just parking in the front, but having a parking spot.
yeah,
space,
as
and
shown.
having
Yeah,
that
it has to
driveway.
be an improved driveway. It can't just be driving on the dirt that's there and driving on the grass that's there. It has to be a driveway.
Put up a split rail fence along that property line in front,
Yeah.
to keep people from parking in there, and there are ways to keep your tenants from parking on your property.
So, back-
Right now, we just have to block it. So this is,
Yeah, you have to remove the shell. Yeah.
shell, landscape that,
Yeah.
add some picket fence possibly in front of that, and then create the parking where it should.
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, let's call it spade a spade. There's nothing here that says you have to have the picket fence. Unfortunately, I think
No,
this
there
site
isn't.
plan
I'm
was
just-
deficient.
He wants to be a good neighbor, and this is all. and
Yeah,
the-
I
the
agree with
point
you.
is
That's what you
something,
should do
you know,
as a good neighbor.
you
But,
can, I mean, there are measures you can take to keep your tenants parking where they're supposed to park. And then if they don't park where they're supposed to park, then maybe they're on the town property, and then maybe the police will get involved. Maybe.
maybe.
Okay, but so I think what I'm hearing is we should withdraw and just.
Comply.
If I withdraw, then I'm saying, I'm just take steps to comply.
If I may clarify for you?
Go ahead.
Absolutely, I would reiterate everything said by the chairman and the board. It does give the option to any future buyer or you, for that matter, to retain property, to come back to the board if they want to have parking go back to that spot. They have to have approval from the board, both the planning board and us. But that would be an option to withdraw without prejudice, because they can come back with an application
Yeah.
within 2 years.
But if you wanted us to vote on it, the reason you would potentially want us to vote is because it would give you the right to appeal the decision if you didn't like it. If you wanted to go that route, Superior Court, I believe Superior Court.
That's probably,
I doubt it. I'm not advising that.
disagree with Mr. Chairman, that less than 1% of the applicants decide to go that route.
I'm not saying I didn't say I would do it. I'm saying that's an option.
Answer my question. What I feel is,
The American Bar Association likes what Mr. Chairman just said, but most communities don't like
Yeah,
that.
no, I'm not suggesting it, I'm simply giving you the
I
facts.
just ask one thing. My wife can can I talk with her and give her a call tomorrow?
No.
We can continue.
You can continue it to next month. You would not have to come back next month. You could simply say, yay, nay. You can re-argue the case next week, month. So would you like to continue then?
I'm not just sure. No, what's broad? I mean, that gives the first, the sale goes through, the most often. And they can come back if they want to, if they're not happy with the layout of in compliance with the plan.
Okay. So you'd like to, you're asking us to withdraw without prejudice. Will you do that? No, but I mean, you verbally do that. Could you?
Actually ask for it.
I respect the request, the board allow me to withdraw my request without prejudice.
I'll
Okay.
make that motion.
There's no one else in the audience who wanted to talk about this one, right? All right, so the motion's been made and who's second? Michael? We'll go this way this time. Jim, you're out. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Can I be excused?
Did you eat your peas?
Can you sit on the next one? Yeah. Yeah. To Ed? Yeah, I texted Ed about it. You guys can talk about it. My town meeting performance.
So I think we have another bite at the apple, I guess. That's what I wanted to bring up.
Oh, what do you mean?
Well, because they shot it down, right?
Yeah.
That shouldn't have been any issue there.
Yeah.
Again, that's special.
Yeah.
And we should probably have it up again.
Technical amendments because they're trying to take all our power away.
All right.
Like, they don't need to go to the
Just to
ZBA.
be clear, none of us have a conflict with Beach Plum?
I have to go to the HGC. If I don't need to be up there, I'd be
Come back.
interested in hearing what you have to say.
All right. We ready, Eleanor?
Okay, the second question.
Okay, other business, 5103, Rugged Scott LLC, Rugged Scott, aka Beach Plum, 40D, for the applicant.
Yes, good afternoon, Chairman Toole, members of the board. Chris Humphrey, Cottage and Castle, for the applicant Rugged Scott. Hopefully you'll find our application a little more clear than the last one. We're here to request a Form J release for lots 34, 35, 36, and 37 for the Beach Plum subdivision. We're nearing the end of the project. We're here wrapping up some final things, and it's really coming together nicely. I think you're going to hear a presentation next month, at next month's meeting regarding that. And then the second relief that we're seeking is for the exchange of two model homes in the subdivision on lots 15 and 36. The board may recall that I was here before the new year requesting similar relief, actually identical relief for 10 Blazing Star, lot 26, and that is the change from a model Holly home to a cedar model. It adds a small office space to the building and otherwise does not change the development or the structure. Also, I have Josh Posner, principal of Rugged Scott, here if anyone has any questions.
Okay, I thought there was a third request, fourth request.
Yes, Chairman, there was a request to change the designation of an office that's in the basement of Lot 2 to a bedroom, but Ms. Antonetti has requested that we renotice that and bring that before the board on the May 11th hearing. So
All right.
that is not going to be heard at this hearing.
So we're not discussing that one at all, Eleanor. We don't have to determine
You
if
can
it's,
withdraw that portion of the
if it's substantial or insubstantial.
Right, so you need to officially withdraw, ask, request for withdrawal without prejudice, that portion of your.
Based on that, yes, based on that
Just
advice.
time out 1 second. Sorry to interrupt. If he does that, then we're not making any determination as to whether it's insubstantial or substantial. That will be done at the next meeting.
Correct, we could continue that to the next meeting, but he needs to, in fact, submit a whole new application requesting all the things that we've been discussing regarding the amendment to the declaration of restrictions.
Gotcha. All right, well, it's cleaner to just withdraw it.
Yeah, for that portion of the application, we will withdraw that portion with prejudice and resubmit. for the
Without
next hearing.
prejudice.
I'm sorry, without prejudice.
Okay. Eleanor also mentioned something about a garage on another lot, or that coming up next
That's-
month as well?
That will be presented to the HDC at the hearing on the 25th, and if we can get submitted in time, then we would bring that back before the board for the construction of a garage on Lot 27. It's going to service the Lot 28 building.
Okay, but that would be coming back at some point.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so basically what we're discussing today is the Form J release and the exchange, the swapping of a couple of the models. And first we have to determine whether or not that's substantial or insubstantial. And if it's insubstantial, we can go ahead and rule on it. If it's substantial, we would then have to renotice it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, how does everybody feel about the substantial bill, whether it's insubstantial or substantial? I was going to, but I don't think it's a word. I'm pretty sure it's not. I stopped. So anyway, now that Jeff has ruined my whole mojo, do we think it's substantial?
I think that changing the models
Yeah.
from one site to the other is insubstantial.
Okay. And the Form J, releasing more lots to be built on?
If I may?
Absolutely.
That's not to do with the comp permit, that's separate, that's to do with the covenant. So you are at your discretion to not release the lots, but that's not,
We're not discussing substantial, insubstantial on that issue.
No.
Got you.
that's why I
Okay.
separated it out in separate, I'm sorry.
Got you.
I agree with Michael on that, that it's
Okay, the swapping.
substantial.
Okay.
Did you say
In.
Yeah.
In? Kiram? Yeah, I'm in agreement. So we can talk about those two items now. So why don't we just take request one, requesting the release of 4 lots, 3 market rate, 1 affordable from the covenant. So just to summarize, how many lots have we released by now?
Or how many are left?
Yeah, it will, with the release of these lots, 5 buildable lots will remain as security for completion of improvements. So, the question is, are we comfortable with or would you like to speak about that?
I would just, I would give you an update that it's my understanding that these Form J releases are based on building out of the infrastructure. And the infrastructure in the front part of the development is fully completed. This year we added and completed all of the required sidewalks on the site, in addition to completing Cranberry Lane, which is a lane that's built with pavers. We've also added all of the required street lights in the development. So there, for all intents and purposes, the infrastructure is complete in Beach Plum.
The infrastructure is complete?
Yes, sir.
Well, I think my concern, and it's not that I don't believe you, by the way, but we probably should have Ed Pesci, with the plan in hand, confirm that. So,
Well, I did provide Eleanor with pictures of this infrastructure. I don't know if that's been made available, but
they're in the packet, but it doesn't look complete.
Is that a binder versus pavement or?
On the Cranberry Lane?
No, not Cranberry. Cranberry Lane is a cross street, right?
Correct, and that's constructed pavers. The main road is fully paved
Final course of paving.
and has been.
We're gonna need to repave that, is it held up like that?
No, yeah, I think you're seeing a lot of construction dirt because we built so many homes in there this year. We're finishing up, I think we did 8 houses in there this year.
I will say I've been there frequently for HPC inspections and other things, and it does look very good. There's a lot of construction going on, the rear of the lot, but in terms of the visible infrastructure, it's looking very nice. But Ed is gonna be here next week, and I can certainly request to go there with him for a more,
Yeah.
precise. We did go there about 2 years ago to look into the sewer and all the different, subterranean installations, and they were up to par at that point in time. So we
Okay.
can go back and do another.
2 years ago was a long time, but.
Yeah. One of the
Right.
concerns we have and why we're here before the board is we're attempting to obtain building permits to have these foundations installed before the summer season, so then next year we can go ahead and implement construction. And we're really running up against a tight deadline as far as the load in the building department to get those permits issued and for us to be able to construct the foundation. So if there's any way that we can expedite the determination on the Form Js, we'd greatly appreciate it.
How many lots are I know in the package somewhere there was how many lots are built on?
Josh, you
28 building permits have been issued, 26 of these have COs. So there were 44 to begin with, is that correct? 40? So 35, you're asking for an additional 4, but you have 3 that are already, are they under construction? The ones we've already released? Are you under construction on all of the released lots? No. How many aren't under construction?
There's 3 that have been released that are not under construction.
So you want an additional 4, but don't you, I'm curious, do you only start construction when you have a sale, or you sell them after they're finished?
It's a little of both.
Okay.
We can start construction on houses that are not sold.
So is it your intention so you would then have 7 released lots. Is it your intention to put in 7 foundations by the summer?
No, it would be our intention to install 3 foundations by the summer on lots
But
30.
you already have 3 lots, sorry, that
It's
are
really more of
released.
a logistic issue on the front. Some of those other lots, to my understanding, that have been released are on the front part of the development, and we're concentrating our construction efforts in the rear part of the development, and we're also redeveloping the pool and the community area this year. So from a logistical standpoint and from not disturbing the neighbors, we would like to have that construction in the rear part of the development on these lots.
All right, well, I guess it boils down to, for me at least, is 5 lots adequate?
Well, if I may ask,
Go ahead.
roughly what is a lot worth today? Roughly. 500, okay. How many of those the 5 remaining, if you're successful here today, will be market rate lots? 3. Okay, so 3 market rate and 2 affordable. So we've got, any idea on what an affordable lot is worth? Is it worth 75,000? No? 0, okay. So there's a million five in collateral on 5 lots. And what were your total estimated costs, infrastructure costs, in the beginning?
What has the total infrastructure cost been? Sorry, I would just kind of ballpark.
Ballpark.
$3 million.
You'd like to forget.
3 million, okay. And you're 90% complete?
I think we're about 98%.
Okay. That's good enough for me.
All right, I have a question. Why, how does the math work if there are 3 market rates and 2 affordables? I always thought it had to be 3 and 1. So you're gonna have 2 market rates at the, go ahead.
Okay, so, in June, we will have 26 certificates of occupancy. Of those, 19 will be, market rate, and 7 will be affordable.
These are COs.
These are COs. We have gotten lots released in a manner that doesn't necessarily reflect this 3 to 1, 25%. So that does throw things off a little bit. But we are ahead of the game in terms of meeting that 25% construction of affordables. The plan for next year, so we will have 26 COs. We'll have 2 more that have building permits where the building, the envelope of the building will be completed and the landscaping around it for this summer. That will leave 12 more lots that have not had construction in. We're going to be building the last 3 affordable homes for sure next year. And then as many of the remaining 9 homes as sales allow. Possibly finish by this time next year, possibly close, but not quite done. We'll be ahead of the game in terms of the 3 to 1 on affordability. And the control on that is the issuance of certificates of occupancy. So it's not about which lots you lease, it's not even about which building permits are issued, it's about which certificates of occupancy are issued.
Okay.
How does that mechanism work? Ellen, when these guys go for CO, do you sign off on it?
I do not sign off on it, Marcus signs off on it, but presumably he is checking in with me.
Well, presumably, does he?
Well, he also has access to the comp permit and all the other documents himself, and they're in the files. Every single building permit application is submitted with the comp permit, the modifications and everything, so he has all of those things.
Well, will you check with him just to
Yeah.
see that he is? I mean, because there's a lot of documentation, and
Yeah,
just make sure he is doing that.
yes,
I mean, it seems like everything's kosher, but Josh, you said that you were going to build out all of the affordables this year. I think you just said that, right?
Yep.
But we're not releasing 2 of those lots.
Right, I expect to come back to get the balance of the lots released in a few months as soon as we're really at 100%. And when you're able to do whatever verification you want to do to satisfy yourselves that we're at that point.
I would
Okay.
think prior to that.
We aren't asking for 100% of them now. It's fine with us, but we do want to get the ones that we want to build the foundations on over the next couple of months at least.
Prior to that meeting, I think we should have our engineer go out.
Absolutely.
I'll write it down.
Well, presumably he's been out there too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, 2 years ago he was.
No, Cranberry Road, the road base should have been approved and.
When's the last time Ed was out there?
Should have been.
I don't know, but definitely since the last 2 years he's been out there, he does on occasion go out and just check on his own initiative.
Yeah, but I suspect,
Today.
Write up on notes or anything?
you know,
But it would be easy for me to get that from him.
okay. So are we, according to Michael's math, there's $1.5 million.
Well, even if it's
Let's
a
say
million.
Let's say it's $1 million for ease of math. Doesn't matter. So that's enough security.
I think so.
Okay. I mean, again, I haven't been out there in years, but it's certainly from the pictures, unless we're talking Photoshop, looks pretty good. It doesn't look 100%. I see pallets of brick and whatnot, but I would think $1 million is gonna. All the roads are in, right? You just said
The
that.
last piece of this Cranberry Lane is going in today and
The
tomorrow.
last couple of pallets are going in as
Which
we
are
speak.
are the pavers?
Yeah.
These are the pavers. The sidewalks are 100%, the main roads are 100%.
Okay. All right. Well, so I can live with that. Everybody else? So
The form is there at the desk.
I see it. So do we want to vote on these things separately? Yeah, why don't we do that? All right, so the applicant is requesting release of 4 lots, 3 market rate, 1 affordable, from the covenant for this 40B approval in 2003. Blah, blah, blah. So, of the 50 lots, are the lots specified somewhere? Should we call that, or you'll call that out in?
It's in the form.
Oh, it's in the form. Thank you. So we're going to release 34, 35, 36, and 37. You all good with that? All right. Is there any further discussion? Anybody in the audience? No. Okay. No further discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay. So that's that. That's 1. Request 1. Do we? Oh, we didn't make a motion. Yeah, I'm getting so excited. Can someone make a motion to grant the relief?
Jim just made it.
Yeah, I make a motion.
Thank you, Jim. Thanks for pointing that out. Who second? Michael seconds it. Any further discussion? No. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay. So do we all sign this?
All of you who are voting on yes, please.
Why
I'm
don't we,
writing your names on the.
why don't we just take care of that? Okay. So then the next one is exchange model home types for lot 15 and 36, both of which are market rate lots. The change will not result in an increase in the number of bedrooms, 3 for each lot. We have done this before, so will you just point out the major differences, please?
Yes, this is identical to what you previously approved, and that is the addition of the, comparing the holly to the cedar. There's the, if you look at the cedar plan, there's an office area on the left of the plan, first floor. It's approximately 12 by 12 office space or sunroom.
You don't have the packet with the numbered pages, do you? No. What page are we on? 143? Okay. So, I'm sorry, I was paging.
Oh, that's okay. It's
will
the,
you repeat yourself?
When you look at the M5 floor plans for the cedar model, you'll see the differences in office being added on the left side. It's approximately 12 by 12. Okay. It's adjacent to the great room.
Got it. It's not another bedroom. It's an office. All right. Refresh my memory. This is sort of an aside, but I've only sat on a few 40Bs. Are the market rate units, is the top end number you can ask for them restricted? No. Okay. I'm thinking more like Sachem's Path.
There's a restriction on
Over,
what we can earn,
overall, right?
and there's a provision where if we earn more than X dollars, it goes to the town. This has been a very challenging development. It started back in 2006. It's been an expensive operation, but just to answer your question, there is no maximum market rate price. There is an audit of all of the books. It's conducted annually.
The town, never mind, okay. All right, so does anybody have a problem with making the unit a little bigger and adding the office? No? 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 No. Okay, so I don't think I do either, so why don't we move on, move along?
I make a motion to grant the relief.
Okay, so just to be clear, we're just exchanging model we're putting M5 where M1 was on 15 and 36, correct?
Correct.
Okay. No increase in bedrooms. All right, so Jim, you made that motion. Who wants to second it? Karam seconds it. All those any further discussion? No. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you. All right, and then we already talked about or you would like to withdraw that without prejudice, so you can come back next next month. So, will somebody make a motion to that extent?
To continue?
To withdraw.
Withdraw without prejudice?
Yes.
I'll make the motion.
All right. You second that? Michael seconds it. Any further discussion? No. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All righty.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alderman.
Okay.
All right.
I do have one other small bit of business
Okay.
to
Can I
discuss.
pick
If
up the
everybody
phone,
can
Jody,
hang for
tomorrow?
10 minutes.
Great.
5
Thank
minutes.
you. Yes, you got
Yeah.
a copy and everything.
It has, there was a ZA decision that was granted in Sconset for, one of these, no closer to the lot line, but if there was going to be a basement dug, arguably with sheet metal and whatnot in the past, certainly if they come before us, we impose or try to certain construction protocols to protect the neighbors. And Eleanor, when Eleanor and I spoke about it after the fact, by the way, there was some question as to whether or not Eleanor was comfortable saying no to an applicant, even though it was within the applicant's rights to apply through the ZA. My position is that Eleanor at any time can say, I'm not comfortable with this, you have to go to the ZBA. I thought we had to, but Eleanor doesn't quite think that way,
Well,
or didn't, which is no biggie.
Does it have anything to do with protecting the street?
Well, the street or the neighborhood.
Yeah, I would just say, when in doubt, if you want to go forward, you just throw the kitchen sink into the decision and require steel sheathing.
Well, that's one way of dealing with it. I think the easier thing
Yeah.
is just to kick it up to the board. I just think if there's ever any doubt. So anyway, subsequent to our conversation, Eleanor talked to Andrew, right? And Andrew, I think, agreed with me that Eleanor at any point can say, no, this is beyond my...
Yeah, of course.
Even though it meets sort of the letter of the thin letter of the bylaw. So I just wanted to make sure that we agreed.
And when it comes to that specific condition, I think the board has been making that condition ever since Orange Street that fell into
Yeah.
almost got wiped out.
Well, I agree, but it's a more fundamental question as to whether or not, even though it meets the letter of that bylaw, that they can go to the ZA, even though Eleanor encouraged this applicant to come to the ZBA, I'm speaking for you, didn't seem comfortable saying absolutely no, I won't act on this, you have to go to the ZBA. My feeling is she has that right and should exercise the right if there's any question, so you don't have to deal with it.
Is it silent? Is the bylaw silent?
The bylaw sounds that, I just want to reiterate, this has not been noticed under other business, so we'll have to bring this back probably next month.
Oh, shoot, you did tell me that.
And we can discuss it again with the full board, and the
Okay.
minutes will reflect your determination that I can use my discretion.
Got
That's
you.
what the board comes back to. But now
My bad.
you've been apprised.
Well, the thing is,
So we're not taking any action, we're not taking any action, I was just
I don't even
discussing
know
it.
where it is. It doesn't
Well,
matter.
is that?
But the thing, the applicant can always say, I don't like this decision that the ZA's given me. I want to go to the board. Well, of course. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that Eleanor has the right to say, I don't think this works, or go
I
to
was
the...
very adamant with the applicant that I thought it would be better, and they did not want to come.
Well, that's wrong, Eleanor. You can say, I'm not gonna make this decision, you have to go forward.
And if they want to take it the next,
That's how it was set up.
yeah, if they want to take, I agree with Jeff 100%.
100% how it was set up. You have the ability to do that, but you are not forced to do that, absolutely not.
Well, I think maybe down the road, if we ever get to amending certain things in
That would be
zoning
on the
bylaw,
list.
that we make that clarification. that just, that'll just, put an end to it, Jeff.
This is
I
my
mean,
phone.
If that was the intent, it appears it's, on the face of it, it doesn't say.
I do think it should be clarified in the bylaw, and I can work with Leslie on that.
Cool.
And can,
Absolutely. Jim wanted to bring something else up.
on that note, I think Lisa and I were the only ones in the town meeting towards the end. Michael was there.
I was in Spain.
Okay.
I almost came back.
Well, I'm glad Lisa stood up and
yes.
objected, but this, I guess, goes back to what Mark was saying. We should probably look through that particular provision, the definitions, and I think we get another bite at the apple because it was shot down, because of the one thing that Lisa stood up about. But the whole, I suspect they're going to come back and clarify. Pardon me?
Planning board.
Planning board. The other one that I noticed, and I didn't, unfortunately, I mean, I didn't go through it until it came up, but it related to the decision on the overhang that we made this year.
Oh.
And I think we all, so they shoehorned some language in there that would allow the situation that I think we all agree.
You mean ground coverage, not ground cover.
Right, ground cover. I think that's what
And that doesn't
so if we
surprise me
don't,
at
we
all.
need to, I think we need to, I was, well, see, I was surprised, I guess.
You haven't been here long enough.
Yeah, I haven't been here long enough. So I was, I think, I just want to make everybody aware that I think we
Well,
have another opportunity to scrub that particular.
In Eleanor's defense on this particular issue, she has told us year over year when we have a chance to go over
Oh, I know.
bylaws. So
Yeah,
I do have a
so-
sense that the board is a little more interested in looking at these things ahead of time. So
Yeah, I'm not saying. Yeah, and I know you forwarded it to us. I'm it forward as well. I mean,
You did get a new.
are you looking for the job?
You get swimming pools now in the DR.
yeah, right. So I just.
What about the rear lot subdivision where if you had enough, Art Gasparo was telling me about this, in certain zoning districts, if you have enough land, even though you do not have an adequate frontage, but you could show on a plan that somehow you could have done this subdivision, regardless of where your houses are or buildings, you can subdivide. Does that ring any bell?
It reduces the frontage requirement for the rear lot.
To 20 feet or something, right? Did that pass?
Well, that's sort of what they've been doing as a matter of course for the last couple of years, isn't it?
Yeah.
These backyard subdivisions.
Yeah.
Where you don't have true frontages that meet the bylaw.
Right. It's basically down zoning by any.
And they just, they produce a subdivision plan.
Right. But
It's happened a bunch of times with those quick roads.
did that. Well, no, a couple of those you could prove that you could put a road in. You didn't have to put a road in. That was the waiver. You showed you can do it, but you don't have to put the road in. You don't have to spend the money. But this is a little different. This now, you don't need the frontage. And is that true in everywhere? No, certain.
I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you.
I mean, I personally, no, never mind. I'll give anybody my
Well,
personal.
special town meeting, if the technical amendment bylaw proposal does come back, it will probably be divided into a section pertaining to 139(2), and then a section that will be pertaining to other sections of the bylaw that are to be modified.
Lisa did say that several of the zoning changes, the spot zoning, which is another favorite, were rejected.
Especially along the South Shore Road.
Yeah.
Road Parkway.
Well, that's good.
And Evergreen too?
There was one that passed, the one by the airport.
That one.
Was that Evergreen?
Oh, is that our thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
The one on South Shore Road got defeated.
Two of them. Well, there were two of them.
But the 20-foot frontage one, again, I mean, that's basically saying if you meet if you're in the right, if you're in the right spot, you just double down.
I need to double check if that was incorporated in the technical amendments, though. It may be that was in the case of the intent, so
Right.
after this.
Will you
meeting,
do me a favor and let me know on that one?
Yeah. We didn't
So I gotta
discuss
prepare
the
my
meeting change
subdivision
time.
papers.
Can we vote on that?
On what?
The change of the time
Oh.
for next month's meeting.
Was that on the agenda?
It is, it's under other business after Levy stuff.
Absolutely, we can do that. So, we are going to meet at 10 o'clock, right? Yeah.
Upstairs.
10 o'clock to 1 o'clock upstairs in May, May 11th.
Same date, just different time. The Board of Selectmen needs this room the whole day for something, so I was trying to accommodate them. The only time availability was in the morning.
Okay.
And then I have one, I just would like to bring you up to speed on Satcham's Path. Ed Pesci kindly called me today and gave me a little rundown. He did a site visit. He goes to construction meetings on a regular basis over there. We'd like you to know that 13 foundations are in on lots 14 through 22, 32 through 38, and lots 14 and lot 16 are fully framed. There are no erosion or soil problems. The second of 2 subsurface drainage cisterns is being installed today. Habitat for Humanity site is being dug open, one of them, and they're going to be putting forms in next week. The Habitat for Humanity crew attends all construction meetings, and there's good communication. And he had
Did
a
they-
very positive reaction to it.
Did Habitat finish one already?
Yes, we sold it.
Oh, good.
In phase 1.
Good.
But that's going well.
All righty. So is there a motion to adjourn? Karen makes it.
Second.
Jim seconds. Any further discussion? No. All those in favor say aye. Aye.